Okay, today is the whole Python lecture. Давайте сперва уточним, есть ли ребята, которые не понимают русский или кыргызский? Может, полностью на кыргызском и русском будем общаться или... If there is anyone who doesn't understand Russian and Kyrgyz, then I will have to talk only in English. На русском будет предпочтительнее или английский? Окей. Ну, вроде на русском все нормально, да? Тогда начнем. Сегодня мы будем изучать синтаксис Python. Use more English. Окей, понимаю на русском. Хорошо. Окей, я буду преподносить на русском и на английском. То есть преимущественно на английском. Okay, today's lecture will be Python basics, syntax, and data types, arrays. More in detail, it will be, we will learn variables, global and local variables, indentation, comments, and ending breaking lines in Python. So it's just all about syntaxes, да? Затем мы перейдем на data types, да? Python, as any other programming language, has numbers. And from Vector Baker's lecture, you remember what are Python integers and floating point numbers and so on. Then we will go through arrays. Python has its built-in data type, which is called lists. Ну, поэтому в Python есть свой тип array, и она называется list. Мы будем изучать это тоже. Strings. Ну, strings — это просто тип даты в Python, где вы можете написать все как текст, да, типа any kind of symbols and so on, and Boolean and so on, and eventually we will go to if-else statements. Но обычно язык программирования любой имеет свой if-else statement, то есть синтаксис, да. Мы пройдем по этому и в конце будем играть put the parentheses game. Okay, so syntax of Python. Что мы должны знать в Python? Ну, первый — это мы в прошлой неделе или в понедельник, да, в понедельник мы сделали вот этот Hello Python Gigs, ну, я не знаю, Hello World или Hello from Chicago. И обычно то, что мы хотим выбрасывать в экран, это все будет внутри функции print и внутри этого этой скобки. Actually, this one is basically a text. Sometimes you can put numbers and so on, but everything within this parenthesis will be printed out to the screen. So this is basically the code. И иногда, ну, во многих случаях у вас будут предпочтение что-то написать, да, чтобы код был понятнее. И в таких моментах вам нужно будет написать комменты, да. В Python все комменты начинаются с этой решетки. All after this sharp one will be ignored till the end of the line. So Python will skip the line starting from this. So print hello world. This will be red. And Python doesn't recognize any kind of void space. So this one is also ignored. And then this is also ignored because this is a comment statement, right? And this is also a comment statement. And then Python will read this one. So these two lines will be red. So hello world is printed. And then this is not a comment, so it will be also printed as well. Есть вопросы насчет comment и print? Все понятно? Еще Давайте все камеры откроем, если вам так позволено, потому что я хочу вас видеть, чтобы было все понятно, да, вы смотрите, вам понятно или нет. It will be more interactive that way. So please turn on your cameras. Okay. The next thing is arrays. So can't right now, unfortunately. Okay, fine. Array это, ну, в любых языках программирования есть arrays, да? Array is just a list of items. It can be list of numbers or list of words or list of characters, list of anything, even like list of animals or monkeys, one monkey, two monkey, and so on. Обычно в других языках программирования, то есть C++, Java и так далее, там есть array, но Python doesn't have array built in its system. So whenever you have to use array, you need to import external library, which is called NumPy. So you first execute this line, and then after that, you can use all array utility functions. But I will show you like there is a built-in Python array, which is different than this array slightly, but still it has almost all of the functions of array. So array is basically a list of anything, right? I mean, this is just a demonstration, but I will show you how to implement them. For instance, when you declare the array, this is this, for instance, this is this one as well. I mean, we defined only 3, so actually this is the array that's defined here. And you can put any array name as well. We will do practice, so don't worry about if you don't understand. So array indexing. So arrays, the list have indexes or indices. So when you declare my array and you put numbers inside, right? It's basically типа корзина дается, да? Вы представьте это как корзину, да? И вы в эти корзины вы выставляете number, да? In this case, I mean, you can put, as I said earlier, you can put anything, but this time we are putting numbers. So we are storing numbers, and its indices are actually raising from 0. So all arrays, they start from 0. So in this case, my array and in this index 0 stores which value? Can you answer?
One.
No. Типа, подумайте, это корзина, и внутри корзины it's storing 2, right? So my array index 0 actually stores 2. So, okay, yeah, I mean, nice trial. So how about this? My array index 7. What kind of value it stores based on this? 13, yeah, number 13. Oops. So this should be 13. And then actually arrays have negative indexing as well. So it's all built in, like it's simultaneously happening. So you can either do this kind of indexing, this is 13, and at the same time, indexing happens from the backwards as well. So from the end, the indexing is -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So at the same time, when you ask my array at index -3, what kind of value it stores? 1, yeah. It stores 1. I mean, this 1. And for -7, it stores 7. So that's what I wanted to do. And arrays can be 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. It's basically a matrix, you know. So we will go through the practice session, how to implement this. So I'm just giving you the idea, like arrays don't have to be just linear list, but it can be like 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, or even like multi-dimensional. n-dimensional list. So just, imagine. When you do practice, it will be much more understandable. And this is it. So let's go to practice session. Actually, I found a really good resource from safe reference. So I found a really good source from here. So all the homeworks will be also from this website for you. So we start from syntax, right? As we learn, Python syntax can be executed by this. So just a quick question before we run Google Colab or anything. Is there anyone who didn't finish the installation part from Monday? Could you install PyCharm and Jupyter Notebook? Please be more interactive.
I couldn't.
You couldn't, okay. Yeah, we should go through that one, I think.
Yeah, I think because the slides were shared pretty much lately, like late. All those things too, the videos, we didn't really have time to like go through your videos and go process.
Today we won't use any PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook. We will use Google Colab, but I will go through the installation with you again, so don't worry. So just a quick recap. So if you remember this slide, so we write codes in 3 different environments, right? Let me go through because some of the students were missing from the lecture last time. So I will just give a very quick overview. So we will learn Python basics, GitHub, data structures, and all kinds of math implementation of the algorithms. And yeah, Python is basically one type of programming language, right? And in a sense, it's very similar to C++ or Java. It's object-oriented, but we will delve into details as the course progresses. And Python was used to implement these kinds of popular tools, right? And Redis, for instance, was almost 100% developed by it. And Python's key quality is it's mostly associated with artificial intelligence and data science. И во многих исследованиях, то есть in research in physics, in material science, and everywhere, Python is basically mostly dominant these days. Python доминирует. То есть when people call language, Python is basically associated immediately with AI, machine learning, data science, and data visualization. And the rest is like very similar to other implementations as well. And other language, Java, is very closely related with Android developers. C++ is very high performance computing, and then substance management and so on. But both Java and C++ are slightly less user-friendly. Это означает научиться кодировать C++ и Java чуть сложнее, чем в Python, да, потому что Python is developed, as you can see, a little later than C++ in the timeline. So it was in 1992 or something around there. C++ was like around a decade before that. So, и, соответственно, они больше фокусировались, чтобы сделать язык программирования более удобным, да, для понимания и так далее. И когда вы учите новый язык, да, всегда вы будете посмотреть на syntax first. Syntax is how to print stuff, how to do codes, writing, etc., how to read them. Обычный язык Python или синтаксис. Потом вы будете изучать функции, how to write codes, loops, while loops, for loops, if else statements, and so on. И there exists object-oriented part, you will learn them. So right now you don't know, ну, вы не знаете, что означает object-oriented, but по ходу дела вы будете изучать это. Most of the programs, like good programming languages, they have the file handling, how you include files, how to read them. These are essential. So, and then there it comes where we code. So coding part is basically you cannot like use Microsoft Word or any platform to code. You have to have like certain tools to write the codes, and it's called integrated development environment, like tools such as like this. So Java use Eclipse, BlueJay, C++ use Dev C++ or Visual Basic. Python uses these tools. And most commonly used ones are PyCharm, Jupyter, and Google Colab. And last lecture, we basically summarized their qualities, right? I mean, свойства. Google Colab — это полный онлайн. Вам нужен просто desktop, да, чтобы you have to connect to the cloud server, and server has installed everything for you. So you don't have to install anything on your device. And today we will use Colab, so which means we will not deal with any installations. But Jupyter Notebook and PyCharm, they are partially online and offline. PyCharm is fully offline, but you can also use it online, but it's designed to be offline. So Jupyter Notebook's key quality is basically, for instance, in PyCharm, you only do codes, but in Jupyter Notebook, you can write equations, you can put pictures, text, anything, and then in between, you can execute the code. It's basically like notebook, да? Обычный notebook сияқты. It's very useful, so, and it's also online and so on, but all this, the codes are actually run within your computer. So which means you have to install Python, you have to install libraries if you are using like NumPy, Matplotlib, and so on. So PyCharm is also very similar, but it's fully offline and it's interactive, but you don't have utilities such as you cannot include text in between. If you just include text, your code will crash because this IDE is not designed to read such notebooks. Okay, so today we will use Google Colab, but in the end of the lecture, I will go through how to install Jupyter Notebook and PyCharm as well. Okay, so syntax, how do we print hello world? So as we said, we just write print, and within the parentheses, whatever we put, скобки, да, в кавычках, will be printed to your console. So let's do it. So when you want to use Google Colab, how do you use it? So you just type Google Colab. I recommend you to go with me, like if you have, or I will give you a time, right? So get ready to do this by yourself when I'm doing it. So you type Google Colab, and then you enter it, and you will see this. Then you sign in to your account. In my case, I will sign into my Gmail account. Once I sign into my Gmail account, it basically works with Google. So that's why I'm signing in. Yeah. So you will see the screen, and then you can do File, New Notebook in Drive, or you can also open notebooks. So you are basically saving your files in Drive, and when you finish coding, you can basically download that notebook file from your Drive and then save it in your desktop. өзіңіздің компьютеріңізді сақтап қоясыңыз да кейін в конце. Но все это, то, что вы делаете, это просто через ваш компьютер вы просто соединяетесь к серверу, да, там в Калифорнии где-то находится этот сервер, и там все коды находятся. И вы просто используете, да, заюзаете те программы, and you are coding. And in a sense, Google Colab is very similar to Jupyter Notebook because you can add text in between. So let me show you. So open notebook, new notebook in Drive. So you open it. So this notebook is actually now saved in my Drive. So if I go to my Google and then Drive, and then I can see it. And then you can save it to this, and you can put any name. So I will put lecture 3 Python. It's saved like this, and then I can start coding. So the first thing that we check is checking the print, right? Print, let's see if it will print any text that we put. So hello from Solution. И когда вы хотите, when you want to run this code, you just put Shift and Enter, and it will run it. The only thing that you have to care is it's connecting, you see, to the server. So right now it's connected, and here is the output. So it runs, and there is a pitfall. So for instance, the syntax here is print, open the parentheses, and then close the parentheses. So if you make a mistake, let's say, no, let's use the next line. So let's say print, and I opened the parentheses, like скобку, hello world, да. Но я забыл закрыть. What will be the output? What do you think?
Error.
Yeah, it will be error because you are basically violating the syntax, right? Yeah, so this is the very typical stuff, Shift Enter, and it's saying syntax error, undetermined string literal. So все тексты внутри скобки называются string. So this is actually a data type, string. И везде, это и в C++, да, Java, да, в любом языке программирования это называется string. И string can be anything. It doesn't have to be only letters. Не только буквы, там может быть все, да? Special characters, symbols, and etc. So how do we fix this? We fix this by just making it string. Now it will recognize, and then if you shift enter, it just generates hello world. So this is syntax, the very, very first thing. I will give you time, so just go ahead and do this. And if you have any questions in the process, you can ask. Could you follow, like Google Colab поиграл алдыңар ма?
Кирип бүттүк.
And print жазыңар уже? Okay, great. I mean, if you are following behind, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So I will go back to here, and so Python indentation, да, Python, да, особенно, но в других языках программирования тоже имеется это, но в Python особенно indentation, абзац, да, абзац это манилю, да. Например, if-else statement деген понятие бар. Ну, типичный if, да, condition, you put a condition, and then you will tell the computer if the condition is false, you do something, like command pressing, да. Если ошол indent follow кылбасаң, анда it fails to run. So this is a typical case. So if 5 is greater than 2, which is the case, this should print it, and it will print it. So if I do this, for instance, if I do this code, I should see this printed out because properly indented. So if-тен кейін обязательно абзац керек, да? Space керек, как минимум бір space. Но если if you violate this syntax, This is syntax, да, просто. If you violate this syntax, if you violate the syntax and let's say you forgot the indentation, then your code will not run. It will be error because after if-else statement, there should be index, and it will be applicable for functions as well. When you declare a function in the end, like later parts of the course, you will see indents is very important. So what did you learn from Python so far? You learned comments, right? You learned indents are important. Indents are important. And if-else de пока öğrenilekti. And then you learned that whatever you put in print and then Skopje, you will get printed. Or you can print even integers and so on as well. So that's the very first part. And then we go to variables. Variables can be anything, right? I mean, it can be numbers, it can be string like this. Skop'un içindeki bar string da John. And the reason I thought first the array list is because string is declared as a list. I mean, as an array. So for instance, this y is equal to John, but actually, if you do, let me give you an example. So, for instance, let's say y is equal to Salijan. And then if I just print Skopje y, what I will see? I will see Salijan. But what if I say print only y0? Do you remember array indexing? Понятно, да? То есть, если вы это так сделаете, первый индекс, да, индекс y0,
Show S.
yes, it will just show us. So let's see. Yes. And how about y minus 1? Do you remember what was the index? Indexing negative will be from the end backwards, right? So if you do y negative 1 index, you will see the first one from the end. And if you run it, you will see n.
So I have a question. Why do some variables have strings, but some doesn't?
NumPy array actually only stores one type of variables. I will show you in the end. But lists store any types of variables. So like, for instance, if I say let's say teams, или countries is equal to, let's say I'm making an array of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Let's make all strings. But let's say by mistake, I put one number in between. And then let's say, this is a list, this is not an array. And the thing is, list actually can store anything, any kind of variable, like string, numbers, anything. And it will not show any errors. Но если вы используете, например, let's say print countries, да? Print countries. Типа countries ты print verdik. Instruction verdik. As you can see, it's printing out Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, 7, and USA as it is. But let's say right now we want to use not the built-in function. No, сейчас мы не добавили никакой external library, да? Типа это built-in Python функция, да? То есть Python'да list деген понятие бар. List'in içine силер мыналарды declare кылатасыңар, да? Variable.
List içinde, значит, должны быть variables, да?
Да, разные variable declare кыла берсеңер болот, да?
Whatever is in the string is called variable, or it also could be like number without any strings.
Actually, a string itself is a variable, but
string.
it can contain any type of index. Индекстің içine special character да қойсаңар болады, числоны да қойсаңар болады, восклицательный знак да қойсаңар болады.
Оно должно быть.
Да, as long as they are covered by double quotes or even single quotes, like Python'dың өзгөчөлүгү, double quote да string date, single quote да string date. It doesn't necessarily have to be only double quotes.
А если мы, например, отдельно хотим сделать какой-то number, но put it into the variable?
Yeah, that's called typecasting. So I will explain that one. So it's you're asking really nice questions. So let me first explain like NumPy, right? Array. So as I said, this is a list is, let me give you comment. So Python will not execute this line because it's just a comment, right? So a list is built in Python array. Даже 2-3 коммент жазсаңар болады да линияға. List and array in NumPy library are almost same, but have very, very slight differences. No, when you do just regular programming, like low-level programming, you don't even see the difference. Вы не замечаете разность. Но когда вы делаете high-performance algorithmic computing, да, тогда вы должны быть осторожны, когда вы используете NumPy и когда вы используете просто list. Но во многих случаях, 99%, типа 99% случаев, по идее, разницы нет. Они почти they behave like in the same manner. Okay, for instance, right now here, I'm trying to use, I'm using array function of NumPy library. И NumPy деген нәрсе бұл специально немеге жазылған. Python программирование языкқа жазылған да. То есть you don't have NumPy library in Java or C. I mean, it's not that much developed. They may have some strange, like funky libraries like NumPy, but they are not as developed as in Python. So, типа бұлар нені береді? NumPy, Matplotlib дегендер бұлар special functionдар береді. То есть программирование язык нені қамтиды? Өзінің if-else statement болады, функцияларды жаза аласың да. Язык программирования өзінің синтаксисы болады. Но есть вещи, которые вы хотите использовать более, как сказать, быстрее, да? И for that kind of like special functions, да, library, да, то есть ошол library'лер ошол special функцияларды берет, да, отдельно. То есть Python'дын, например, C++'тын, Java'нын баарынын окшош свойстволары бар, но вы хотите делать что-нибудь special, да, exotic. Например, machine learning кылгыңар келди, data science research кылгыңар келди. Почему Python предпочитается over C++ in data research? Потому что Python'да Matplotlib деген, NumPy деген special library'лер бар да, библиотекалар. Ошол библиотекалардын ичинде бүт функцияларды силер колдоно аласыңар да. Мисалы, фильтр кылсаңар болот да, көп даталар турат, даталардын ичинде фильтр кыласыңар да. Аны мисалы C++'та кылам десең, өзүң код жазышың керек да. You have to write the code yourself. But то, что вы делаете в Python, это просто you import NumPy like this. Import.
Для чего библиотеки, вот эти libraries, да, нужны? Они для чего вообще существуют, например?
Да, то есть это для того, чтобы делать вещи более комфортабельными, удобно. For instance, as I said, like if you want to do data analysis in C++ or Java or in any other language, you have to write the code yourself. А здесь то, что вы делаете, это просто you import the library and you can use any kind of function within that library. Типа вы не будете заморачиваться defining the function and so on, you know. Functions are given. Типа special tool'дар бар да. Жалпақ тілмен айтқанда қандай болып қалады? Мысалы,
Men tushundirib bereyinmi library'ni? Men tushundirib berip koyun library'ni kırgızcha. Жалпы айган тил менен. Library деген типа как энциклопедия сыяктуу да. Мисалы үчүн бир нерсе дейлик кандайдыр бир динозаврдын эмнесин түшүндүрмөсүн биякта узун жазып эмне кылып койгон да сен энциклопедияга кирип туруп динозавр десең сага ошонун бүт баардык информациясын чыгарып берет да типа ушундай. Ошондо эмнеде программированияда как шорткат деп коебуз го баягы Ctrl менен V'ге бассаң уже эмне paste кылып коет, жосоң Ctrl C'ге бассаң копи кылат го, типа ошол сыяктуу бир нерсе да. Уже код даяр жазылган мурда. Ошонун эле атын коюп койгондо сен ошону колдонуп эле узун коддорду жазып отурбай, кыска нерселер менен код жазып ал депчи.
Поэтому
Ал
называется
коддор на самом деле library'nin ичинде узун код бойдон жазылган. Просто бизге жөн эле атын берип койгон да, типа динозавр дегенде, булдай тиштүү жаныбар ал бул деген нерселерин берген эмес. Бирок биз динозаврды колдонуп кете беребиз да бардык жердечи. Вот, буну эмнеге кылган? Эмнеге мындай library түзүлгөн? Потому что ар дайым колдонулган, постоянно колдонулган кээ бир нерселер бар. Мисалы үчүн математикада бир көбөйтүү, всегда колдонулат. Процент мисалы үчүн всегда бардык жерде колдонулган общий нерселер да. А бирок кээ бир нерселер бар вообще айда жылда бир жолу колдоносуң. Вот алардын library'си жок. Бирок постоянно колдонулган нерселерибизди ушундай кыска коддорун жазып уже адамдар ошо Python'да эмне кылгандар. Түзүп коюшкан оңойлуу болсун депчи. Кайра ар бирин башынан кылып жазып отурбайбыз кодду. Ошону эле эми китепканадан эле мындайча айтканда энциклопедиядан эле атын алып алып кете беребиз. Компьютер ошону түшүнөт. Мен динозавр деп койсом, компьютер ошо ичинде динозавр нелер жөнүндө сөз болуп атканын түшүнүп калат да, library'де бар болгон үчүн.
Но это значит,
Да.
получается, как сборник, да, вот в боксе. Вот,
Да.
брал
Да,
бокс,
типа ушундай.
Сборник готовых функций, да? Которые вы можете...
Да,
то есть
сборник готов.
каждая library, она имеет свой purpose, да?
Да.
MATLAB, у них,
Каждая
значит,
функция уже оптимизирована и готова к использованию в библиотеках. А если вы хотите, например, C++-да силер мисалы датаны фильтр кылам дейсиңер, да? Тогда вам приходится написать там 20 страниц кода, да? But in Python, you can just invite that function and that's it does everything for you. You just have to go through, ну, вы просто должны понять, что это делает, та функция, и использовать. А в C или в Java вы сами должны будете полностью имплемент, да, типа алгоритмдер колдонушуңарга туура келет, аябай көп убакыт алат, да. Ошол. И NumPy это один из самых часто используемых библиотек, да, немеде Python'да. NumPy, matplotlib өзү айтып турат, plot деген типа plot классында да, неме графиктер чиесин да. Data Science'да өтө көп колдонулат. Machine Learning'де өтө көп колдонулат AI-дачы. Кстати, мен мындай бир жаңы кызыктуу бир информация беришип коеюн силерге. Медер Камалов деген бирөө бар эле, таанысаңар керек. Медер Камалов деген ошол он был химиком прежде. Ошский лицейди бүтүргөн, то есть кыргызстандык да. И MIT'де окуган биринчи андерград кыргыз. He finished MIT.
Кайнар Камалов деген деле бар,
Кайнар Камаловдун бир тууган байкеси да. Ошол. Анан Медер Камалов, вот, he finished PhD in chemistry. Ну, по химии он докторант, да, типа доктор наук. Потом занимался наукой занимался и так далее. И в конце, типа, he just decided to switch to computer science. И он стал стартапером и так далее, да. И он полностью специализировался в Python. То есть in his portfolio he writes like, I owe everything on Python, you know, like, я должник Python, you know, типа. И недавно его компания стартап. Называется Fal AI. И они... Oops. I shouldn't have clicked that one. Fal AI. Они недавно выиграли $49 миллиона. February 13th, like literally a day ago, they won like more than or around $50 million investment, you know. And he's just putting the essence and strengths of AI Python, you know. Because all what he's doing in AI video, like this startup actually is using Python tools, I mean Python programming language and its built-in libraries to build this product. And then this product is basically rocking the investment market, you know. So it's just one clear example, like recent, very fresh example of strengths of Python, you know. So let me show you like slight difference between library'dagi array менен тиги Python ичиндеги built-in list дегенде разницасын көрсөтөйүн. Мисалы my array дейм да. Array is equal to this time I will write np. Ну, обычно library'ден чакырганда силер не деп бул жерге импорт кылсаңар, ошого точка коюп туруп анан функцияны чакырасыңар да. NumPy'дын ичиндеги array деген функцияны чакырып атабыз да азыр. No, you don't have to understand right now. Вам не нужно все понять 100%. Просто I'm demonstrating the difference, okay? I mean, don't worry if you don't understand 100% this particular line. So array дейсиңер, скобки, you will declare array. So let's do the same exact list. Okay, I'm declaring the same exact list. First one is built-in Python list. The second one is we are implementing it as an array. Okay, array from the function NumPy library. And let's print my array. Print my array. И Google Colab'тың дагы немеси пользасы да. I mean, this is one benefit of IDE да. Например, Jupyter Notebook'та мындай функция жок. I mean, what's the function? Function is when I'm writing possible немени guess кылып туруп да, сразу autocomplete кылат да. PyCharm'да ушул свойство бар. Когда вы используете PyCharm, it tries to autocomplete, you know. And whenever you do silly mistakes, ну, дешевый жанагындай эррорлорду кылганыңарда, сразу айтат да, бир скобканы унутуп калдың, же бир каучканы унутуп калдың, скорее всего, каучка болуш керек депчи. То есть IDE-нин пользасы ушундай, типа кээ бир IDE-лер ушундай не деп коет, өзүнүн бир жакшы свойстволору бар да. Бул жерде Google Colab'тын пайдасы AI колдонот экен, autocomplete'ти кошуп коюптур да, немегечи, utility'ге. Ошол. Ну, my array the print class. Let's see. My array, then run the code, shift enter да. As you can see here, list'te бул int болуп чыкты, integer болуп. Ну, как мы declared да. But in array it converted to string. Поэтому я говорю, типа, the difference here is like array stores all the information from the very first one. So the first one we declared as a string. So all the values, whatever we do, even if it's integer, it will convert to string. Okay. But in list, it's as it is. In list, you can store string, array, floating number, anything, you know. Okay, so this is just a demonstration. You don't have to understand this part. I just gave you like very quick overview. So let's go back to basics because we are delving like a little bit too hard. So what's the data type of this?
Integer.
Yep. How about this?
String.
String. Okay. Um, one function you can use with data types is this. So, so let's say x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 7.1. And when you declare, as you can see, you can do this as well. Like Python doesn't care the space, you know. So for Python, it doesn't matter, but it matters when you do indentation. I mean, this and the other one is very different. For instance, if I do z is equal to 7.1, Python, at this point, it may not be any problem, but when you work with functions, try to avoid these kind of discrepancies, because for Python, it's like, неме істейсіңер? Vector байке жаңағы PEMDAS дегенде айтпады, парантез бірінші іштеледі, анан кейін көбейту іштеледі да, multiplication, потом you have to work with I mean multiplication, division, потом анан кейін қошу көбейту дегендерчи, қошу кеміту дегендер. Ошол indentation ошол факторга кирип кетет да, ошон үчүн you have to be careful when you do this. But space in between here doesn't matter. So, but it's a good practice to write the code in an understandable manner. So what's the difference here? X не, Y не. Естественно.
X integer, Y floating number.
Yep, exactly. So Python has a built-in function which is called type. So if you put type and скобки, любой variable таштасаңар, бізде x and y деген екі variable бар, declare кылдык. X не деп чыгыш керек? Integer деп чыгыш керек да. Let's see. Integer көрсөттү. Now let's say print y is деп туруп, анан мына жерге type y десек. Типа биринчи линияда биз не кылдык? Просто type деле чыгардык. Print кылбасам деле чыгарат, бирок проблема в том, что когда вы делаете многие такие просто type деп кеткениңерде, print'te баспасаң бирөөнү эле чыгарат, последний чыгарат. А print дегендер каждый print'te чыгарат да булчу. Okay, so x is this, y is this. So let's see. Y should be float. Yeah, y is class float. And when you actually print, it just ignores the non-printing lines in above, unless you did. So for instance, if you want to print this one as well, you can just make print type x. You run the code. It just shows this is class and this is integer. Y is class float. Да? Okay. И еще есть один интересная вещь. Да? No, this was type. This is type. Да? Type function. Type function бұл data type берет да, в конце. There is another thing called typecasting. Typecasting. Ну, или casting деп коет. Индустардың жана кастовый система деп окшоп кетет, по идее. What does it mean? It means, or just casting. It means you can convert string to integer. For instance, you declared y as a 7 integer, right? If you just say print type y, что вы будете видеть в экране? Y variable'дын немеси кандай? Data type.
Type
Integer?
int.
Integer, да? Хорошо. You will see integer, but in between, I say z is equal to string. Y. Right. See the same. Или башка жол деле бар мунун кылганычы. It's in string is not defined.
String capital ismi жазбайт эле.
Is there such a function? No. Let me quickly. So this is another way of debugging, you know. So whenever you encounter such problem, so it didn't recognize string, right? So I will just Google it. So how do you cast or typecast integer to string in Python? Да? It will just explain. Stack Overflow көрсөтөт обычно. str десең болот экен. You can just use str. str деген функция экен, мен string деп жазыпмын толук. But it's actually str. So, str десең бул z азыр немени жетини stringге которду да, и type z десең string чыкты, көрдүңбү? It's no longer integer now. Oops. So this is called typecasting. Типа, you can change the data type, you know, when you are coding. These are especially important because интервьюларда или технический нерселерде sometimes they ask you to read the files, да, типа силерге көп PDF-тен датаны алып киргиле дейт да. И датаны алып кирип атканыңарда кээ бирөөлөр число болот, кээ бирөөлөр просто буквалар болот да. But your function is designed to do calculations based on string, например. Then what you have to do, you have to cast all the integers to string, you know. And this is how you do it. Like within your function, you just add one more line like this, like change all the integer values to string. And then when you have all strings, then you can do your operation there, like whatever you want, you know. It's called typecasting. So this is another thing. It's called casting. So x is equal to string 3, you know. This will be string y is equal to string integer 3. So this is integer and floating also. Это неполное число кылам. Типа программированияда float менен integer да основном. То есть эстейсиңерби жана вектордуу айпе. Анда таппады эле. Where was that? Okay. Never mind. Here. So Venn диаграммасында не болчу? Real number бар болчу, whole numbers, natural numbers, and so on. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not visible here, but programming language all you care is usually integers versus non-integers, да? Ну, иногда комплекс number, это комплексные числа, это просто нереальные числа, да? То есть imaginary парттар болот. Ал обычно неменен келип чыгат, square root. Бирок most of the times you don't have to deal with that, so I will not just delve into it. So yeah, let's go through variable names. So variable'ды declare кылгандан кийин, потом same variable'га multiple value'ны бере турган болсоң, последний кайсыны неме кылса, берген болсоң, ошого update болуп кете берет да. То есть variable is not unchangeable, да, типа мындай бир ситуацияга келдиң да. Допустим, my variable is equal to string болду и Салижан деп койдук да. Потом передумали, да, my variable ушул эле variable да is equal to Mercedes деп койдук мисалы. If you print here my variable, what you will see? You will see the last assigned value, Mercedes. Салижан. Okay, so this is called like secondary overriding the plot, overriding the n minus usual. And then legal variables. There are legal ways of defining the variable, and there are some ways you cannot do it. And in a sense, underscore menен capital letter and even numbers can be used. Special characters all can be used to define the variable, but this kind of thing cannot be a space, cannot be used because Python will see these two as two different variables. Okay? Or dash and dash has a different meaning in Python, so you cannot use it. So let's do my variable name is equal to John, Pascal case. So another way is like you can all keep first letters capital. It's just syntax that the best way of defining it. These all have styles that no, Python recognize all of them. It's just variables names with more than one word can be difficult to read. There are several techniques you can use them more readably. Более user readable код жазуда цель, да, мақсат. And you can do this exercise as well. So basically, when I give you homework, actually, I will give you like first several lectures. You will basically fill out all the exercises in this website, actually. And then there will be like several other additional games and so on as well. So which is not a legal variable name? What do you think?
The first one?
Yes, first one has a dash. These three are okay. Yeah, it's the correct thing. Submit answer. Next question. Let's see. Create a variable named car name and assign the value Volvo to it. So how do you do that? Your variable name should be car name, right? So you will do this, right? And assign this to Volvo. And Volvo is not an integer or anything, but it should be a string, right? So how do you define string?
Кавычки.
Yeah, в кавычки или в одиночных кавычках. Both of them are correct. In Python, both of them are correct, but in C or other languages, it may not be correct. So create a variable name x and assign the value 50 to it. It's quite simple, right? X is our variable name and 50 is the value. Submit the answer. Congratulations. Yeah, next exercise. What's the correct syntax to add the value hello world to 3 variables in one statement?
First.
Let's see, what's the correct syntax to add the value hello world?
First one.
The first one, first.
What is the question? This one actually says, I mean, we can read it, right? X is equal to Y is equal to, all of them are equal to hello world, right? So this is not the case. This is, no, this is just, it doesn't do 3, it's just a 1 variable. So this is the case. What's the correct syntax to add the value hello world to 3 variables in one? Oh, I see. Yeah, we are declaring 3 variables, X, Y, Z, and all of them are equal to hello world. So, ooh,
Second one, maybe?
No, just try. Yeah.
interesting. Insert the correct syntax to assign values to multiple variables in one line. Yeah, actually, we didn't go through that one yet, so it's this part. Here, many values to multiple. Python allows you to assign multiple values in one line. Но в случае да, it will just assign by comma, да, типа 3 variable define қылдыңар, 3 башқа немеге map болады да. So X is equal to orange, Y is equal to banana, cherry is equal to Z, and so on. And you can assign the same value to multiple variables as well, like this. И мынау жерде уже list болып кетті, да. You have fruits is the list, and X, Y, Z is equal to fruits, which means X дағы, Y дағы, Z дағы. No, it has 3 indices, and all of them are actually mapped to 1 by 1. Типа, мынау жерде индекске бөлініп кетеді, да. Okay, so now we can actually check the exercise. What's the correct syntax to add the value hello world to 3 variables in one statement? It was this one. Because this one, in order to do this, you have to do 3 commas, I mean 2 commas. You saw that. Oops. Okay, yeah. Python print is used to output variables, you know this. So print function, you output multiple variables separated by comma. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, this is just explaining how print function works within the Python, right? Python built-in print деген функция бар. Şu функцияның қандай іштегенін түсіндіріп береді да. Потом new line деген понятие бар. И concatenation деген да нәрсе бар. Типа concatenation дегенде you can basically add things. Here it's just integer болған үшін математический operation болады, анан кейін print болады да. Типа now when you print it out, what will be the result? 5 plus 10 is equal to 15 да. 15-ді көресіңдер да. Ал эми моундай случай болгондо two different data types, as I said, it will give you an error. So what you will have to do is basically either convert this to string and then add them. It will become 5 John or John 5, depending on the order. Например, number state there. Let me give you the example of this. So if you run this, you will get an error. Yeah? Because one of them is string, one of them is integer. So in order for this to work, you should make x is equal to string тиги x'ти string өткөрүп атам да кайра. And programming бир аз confusing болгон нерсе ошол. What's confusing? Because you can actually assign x to itself, but done some operation first. Да? Типа биринчи x'ти string өткөздүк, потом stringди x'ке кайра байладык да. As a result, your integer x became string x. Now, if you print this, you should get 5 John because x is coming first and y is John. Да? Yeah, you see, 5 John. Ал эми мынаны ордерин mix кылсаң, you will get y plus x болсо, you will get John 5. And you can play around with the indices as well. So this is how you play around with data types. So yeah, and then there is global и local variable деген понятие бар. Global, local дегенде ал функциялардын ичинде болот. You have a big немеде, мисалы силер код жазасыңар, допустим, you declared your variable is equal to 5 дейли да. Потом you started if-else statement. If your variable is bigger than 4, which is the case, and generally enter the бассаңар, бул if-else statement. Типа if-else statement syntaxи мына жерде берилген. You can take a look. That's actually I had to show you earlier. So, but before going to that, we should first go to operations. I think that's the operators. That's the primary thing you have to deal with. So operators биздин немебиз бар, не деп коет? We have the типа энциклопедия. Например, plus addition, да, minus subtraction, division, and so on. Modulus деген понятие бар. Modulus билесиңер? Модуль, да, орысча. Модуль это просто
Остаток.
остаток, да. Residue деп коет англисче. So we can try a modulus, for instance, just to give you an example. Let me add a new line of code like this. So let's say our x is equal to 7, y is equal to 7. What will be print x percentage y? What will be the result?
0.
0, да? Потому что остаток жоқ та бұл неде. А если y is equal to 3, what will be the result?
1, 1.
Yeah. То есть модтун немеси ушул функциясы да остатыкты көрсөтүш керек да. Whatever is remaining. Exponentiation, is double star менен define болмок экен. Мынау double bracket, this just gives the division with floor, which means we can try. So let's say x is equal to 7, y is equal to 3. Biraz 5 değil, bunu 2 değil, biraz simple'rak matematik olsun da. Print x double divided by y. And print x divided by y. И алдына бер неме кошуп коеюн да, statement. X divided by y is equal to yeah, x double divided by y is equal to as I said earlier, you can print out multiple statements just separated by comma, right? So if you run this, you will see the difference. Floor degende, whatever is remaining after decimal point, it cuts it out. Hold on. It doesn't matter. It can be, let's say your x is equal to 5.8. 5.8. Типа бұл жерде rounding up, rounding down деген неме жоқ. It just cuts it out. Lower bound алады да. Типа мынау жерде мысалы the first one is 2.9. The second one is just cutting it out. Both of them are actually flow. So и еще есть вот такие funky operators. Типа немеде да, барабар деген значок бұл, it's very clear, but in programming you frequently encounter such things like plus equal to is equal to 3. So it's basically a shortcut written way of x is equal to this plus this, x plus 3. So I'm assigning back. So if x is defined as 5 and then you do this, you will get 8, because 5. Well, you can do that. And minus, then you can do all kinds of stuff. The same similar technique is working here. Ошол булардын баары немелер да, операторлор. If else statement'те в основном мынаулар колдонулат да, comparison operatorлар. Булар эмне? If x is equal to y, this is conditional statement да. It's different than x is equal to y. No? It's this is used as a condition. No? Не деп коет орусча?
Условия.
Условия, да? Условия, да? And this one is compute something if x is not equal to y, and we can demonstrate that. And less than, greater than, or equal to, less than or equal to, this And then and or not деген operatorlar бар да, true if both false, typical. C++'та, например, and double and менен марк болот. Python'да болсо жөн эле or and letter менен эле define кылат экенсиң. These letters. So is not. So I recommend for you to review all this stuff and then go through the test, So once you know the operators, then you can go to if else statements, right? So the very first trial is a is equal to 33, b is equal to 200. If b bigger than a, and pay attention, there is an indentation, which means it will run properly. If there is no indentation, it will not run, right? So if you run this, b is b equal to a. Now тура condition.
Тура.
Если это правильно, тогда if then statement скажет, you print b is greater than a. So this will be actually the result. Экранда ошону көрөсүңөр. indentation error да, indentation койбогондо мына error берет, because if'тен кийин indentation болуш керек обязательно. Потом if'тен 3 случай болот. There is else if деген дагы бар. And you can add as many else ifs as possible. Типа, there is no limit of adding else ifs. As long as they don't не деп коет. As long as they don't overlap with each other. Жаңағыдай contradict each other. İşte берет да. Else if'ти elif деп define кыласың. И то же самое. Мисалы 33. If b is greater than a, which is not the case, so this will be skipped. Да? No, биринчи линия skip болот. Else if, в другом случае, если a is equal to b, which is the case, you will get this result. Да? И последний else это если все if и else if не состоялись, тогда просто do else, something else. So if you have this condition, a is 200, b is 33, clearly b is not greater than a, b is smaller than a, so this will be ignored. Да? And then go next else if. Is a equal to b? This is not true as well. So you skip this line as well. And then since all of them are not correct, it will just print out the very last statement. Like not print, but it will just execute this. And this is true for multiple lines as well. I mean, it doesn't have to be only a single line. You can put parentheses between these, you know, you can add parentheses, and between the parentheses you can code. But that's optional in Python. Типа C++, например, if you add multiple lines, you have to do in curly brackets. Да, например. Python'da андай нерсе жок. Python is very user-friendly in that sense. The only thing that you should care is indent. Типа, иштен кийинки same indentте любой код болсо баары болот, ишке ашат. Силерге бир example берейин да. Let me run this. Indent and if else statement. So let's say the first one is not correct, right? This is not correct. So, I mean, this is not correct. So this will not be executed. This is not correct as well. Correct as well. But in else, we want to do more. We want to z is equal to a plus b деп тағы бір немен declare кылабыз да, variable да. И потом we want to say print z да. So as you can see, we are doing 3 different computations in else. And when you run, all of them will run because they are all indented. This is syntax, that's syntax Python. A is greater than B, the first one is running. And then it did this line as well, and then printed the result, which is A plus B is 233. So that's how you do multiple lines. Alternatively, you could do this as well. But C'de ушинтесиңер, бирок Python'da you don't have to do this. All you have to care is indentation. Например, ортодо you just left the indentation. Let's say you left it. You add something like let's say t variable define кылып салдыңар 70 да. And if you run, else exits as soon as you finish the indent. Yeah, there is an indent problem. Like you cannot even do it because it's syntax error, да? Потому что вы уже вышли из индента. So you have to print like this, or there will be an error. So as you can see, like indent can be a clear problem. You know, you have to either comment this out or fix the indent for your code to run, you know, properly. Okay, so that's if else statement. Oh, What else do you have to know for the first lab? Потом casting'ды үйрендік та. Casting is just when you change the variables. And when you actually assign from float to integer, what happens is it just cuts out whatever is after decimal, да? Но после точки что остается, полностью отрезает, чтобы сделать это integer from float. So you should be careful. Типа, бұл жерде rounding up, rounding down деген понятие жоқ та. Unless you specify it. Если if you run this will not round up to 3, but it will be 2, because it just deletes whatever is following after that, you know. Но если вы используете special function to round up, да, и round up деген функциялар болады, да, rounding up and down in Python. Бұның өзінің функциялары бар. Math деген неме екен? Library көрдіңдер. Типа math деген библиотекадан ceiling деген немен алсаңар болады, round up қылған. Бұл 3.2-не апқа round қылады. И дальше больше понятиелер дағы бар. No, in general, not even rounding up, just rounding десін деле. Rounding numbers. There will be much more functions. And that's typically how you learn it, you know. In this case, round number only 2 decimals. In this case, for instance, you can even indicate round деген функцияда Python içinde өзінің функциясы бар екен. You can even indicate up to 2 decimals. 2 decimal деген 76-ға чейін кат қылады. Бірақ 76-дан кейін 5 бар да. So 5 is bigger than 0.5. It should round to 77. It cannot be 576, but it should be 577. So let's run this code. Rounding versus casting. Yeah, as you said, as I said, 577. But if you just do, let's say a is equal to this number, and print integer, we are first converting it to integer and a. It doesn't round. It just cuts out all the remainder parts. 5. So that's the difference between typecasting versus rounding. You know, you should be careful when you are dealing with data. So yeah, today was introduction to these stuff. Strings, as I said, you can define as double quotes, single quotes, and then there are funky lots of functions that you can play around with strings. And I will leave this for you as a homework. You will get used to it, don't worry when you see it first. For instance, here what you will see, print A1. Remember, indexing starts from 0. Nah, it should be E, no? You will see E. You can even do loop, but we didn't study loop yet. So after 1 or 2 lessons, you will be very comfortable in doing such operations, you know, because you will learn loops. Loops is one of the essential parts of programming. Once you learn loops, I think you can do lots of Codeforce lead code problems as well. It's not the most optimal way of implementing code, but loop is it iterates. So let me just give you an example. Например, you want to print banana 70 times, huh? You don't want to copy paste it 70 lines, right? I mean, you don't have to do that, but there is a very nifty way of doing it, which is iterating it 70 times. The code does it for you, and that's where you use loop, you know. So you can do while I is bigger than 60, print banana, да? Ну, это loop statement, да? И I define I is equal to 1 days. И after each running, I is equal to plus equal to 1. То есть I-ды үчтөгө көтөрүп кетип атабыз, да? This is the loop statement, типа бұл while loop деп болот. For loop дагы ушул эле нерсе, просто башка бир синтаксте жазылат. So this code will basically run like every time. So what happens is while and then condition, да? Condition, yeah. I больше чем 60. When it just starts, let's say I is equal to 1. So is 1, oh, I should do the opposite. Is 1 smaller than 60? Yes. If that's yes, then it will run these following indented lines. And then go back again to the condition. Типа iteration болот, да? Instead of lining like doing this copy paste 60 times, you know, like this 60 times, you can just use 3 lines of code. And then each time what you are doing is basically, this is like you are increasing I to next time it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Eventually it will become 60, and 60 is not smaller than 60, it will exit. So when you do this, you see 60 lines of bananas. It's called loop. И бұл обычно iterative проблемдерде өтө көп колдонулат. This is the very brute force way of solving problems, you know, iterating problems. Is loop understandable? Like, did you get what's the meaning?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. Did you follow what I was typing, or you just watched my explanations? I mean, if you just watched my explanations, actually, I can like declare practice time, and you can go ahead and practice what we just did right now. And then we will finish with game, you know. Okay, let's finish strings first, and then we will finish. We will go to the game part. So we will have plenty of time after that. So as I said, strings is just any kind of statement. It doesn't have to be only letters, right? For instance, for string, I can do x is equal to, as long as it's in skopka, percentage, blah, blah, blah, numbers, underscore, overscore, and print x. Just prints whatever is the value. So it doesn't have to be anything. And actually, there is like a very interesting thing. ASCII table деген понятие бар программированияда. It's a little bit high level programming, but I'm just giving you a very small introduction. Actually, what you are doing with special characters and letters. Oops. Yeah. What you are doing is basically you are targeting the decimal numbers. Типа, биздин экранга мынандай символдор көрүнөт. На самом деле, in the background, in the machine, what's happening is like, it's just computing the decimals. Типа, the difference between z and closing parentheses is only 1 digit. Типа, для компьютера это просто разница 90 и 91. Типа, компьютер видит 90 и 91, да? а мы видим Z и скобка. So this is usually like ASCII table жақсы істеп қалуға, потому что иногда немелерде интервью квестиндерде и лид кодтың задачаларында ушул немелерди берет, ушундай задачалар, типа 0-дон мынауга өтөт, башкага өтөт, типа ошолордун баарын you should just target to decimal number, which means you can convert these to decimal and then just play as a number instead of special characters, you know. That's this one actually explains, да, но это объясняет, почему, as long as you are in the double marking içinde, actually whatever is like 3, 9, J, S, percentage sign, everything is actually decimal number'larda. What's percentage? It's 37 for a computer. For numbers is like this range of decimal numbers, да? Типа ASCII table'de ушинтип эстеп калгыла, потому что it's quite fun way to remember. And these are especially important when you later deal with different kind of like array problems. Да. И I will give you some time for you to practice this stuff. So I will leave screen here. Please feel free to replicate this. And then once you are done, we will go to the game, you know, the so-called parenthesis game. Do we have to practice this script? Yes, yes. Let's go ahead, try to run this stuff.
Excuse me, will we switch to Jupyter next lesson, or it will be Google Colab like whole course?
Actually, I didn't decide yet. What do you think? Jupyter is also very similar, like exactly same. In terms of interface, it's exactly same.
What will we use the most, like in the future? What will be more?
I'm assuming you will use Jupyter more. Colab, the only benefit of Colab is like if you have very bad computer and you want to use good servers, you just need internet and connect to good servers and ignore about bad processor of your computer, you know. Типа менде ушундай случай болгон да, research кылчумун. И my laptop was bad actually, and I had to run really heavy codes. And I used to kind of use Google servers, and my laptop was basically connector болгон да. А Jupyter you run your own CPU. Типа өзүңдүн CPU-ну run кыласың да. So if your computer is good enough, your code will not crash.
PyCharm и VS Code, получается, нам вообще не нужен, да?
PyCharm'да мындай нерселерди кыла албайсың да. PyCharm'да if you write all of this code, you just run once and it will go everything at once. But Jupyter менен тиги Colab'дын немеси да, utility'si, you can go line by line and then run them separately, you know. And then even like in between, you can add, let's say, code. You make it upper. Типа үстүгө чыгаратабыз буну. Мына жерге instead of code, you can even like text, you know. Text мисалы. This is just the text, isn't it? That's what I was saying last time. Даже фигурлерди койсоң болот, эможилерди койсоң болот. Короче. Enter десеңер. Қалаған нәрсеңерді қылсаңар болады да. И обычно бұл туториалдар жасағанда, lecture ноттар жасағанда шыны қолданышады. You can even use LaTeX, like LaTeX деген ұқсаңар керек. LaTeX деп қояды. LaTeXте CV-лерді башқа нәрселер жасашады, графиктер жасашады. Качественный, да, типа scientific или high level. Обычно резюмелердегі CV-лерде LaTeXте жасашады да. So, and Colab, Jupyter Notebook, they both support LaTeX as well, which means you can do high quality demonstrations within the single Python code. Типа код ран болып келе жатады да, текст көтіп кетеді да, image көтіп кетеді, обратно қайта код көтіп жатады, шындады да. Но it has a memory. Типа, let's say if you define X here and never changed, or you changed and so on, and eventually you are just running. Let's say we did many stuff, right? And then eventually we just want to print X. It will just go to the history. Последний run болған қайсы X болса, ошон валюсын алады да, сапринт қылады да. Біз последний run болған мол болды да. And X value is this. So you expect this to come out. So if you just print this, you didn't assign anything on this particular cell, but you have in the memory this one, right? So when you print X, you will just see this again. Типа, in a sense, the cells are connected. Да? And there is a way to, when you are done with all the codings, типа, сілер симуляция қылам десеңер, you can do like run all of the codes at once. File. No, it has file. No, it isn't gonna. I'm forgetting how to do it, but yeah. Okay. Anyway, so sorry for keep changing the screen. So are you done with the, like, is everything clear?
We will go through NumPy in the future, right? Like more deeper.
Yeah. NumPy, I just wanted to show the difference between list built-in Python array versus array in the library. Most of the like machine learning AI stuff is actually within NumPy. So if a built-in list менен көп нәрсе кыла албайсың да. But with NumPy you can call many functions. Типа np dot деп туруп эле каалаган нерсени кыласың да.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How did you type the text?
Код дейсің да, либо любой бір селге кирдиң. Допустим, just add code, мынау код деген сел ачты, and just write text. It's a new cell, but even here as well, we can write.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
How is it going? Let us know if you are done. Do the same time and explain. Okay. I think it's better to do at the same time when you explain. What do you mean, Arslan, by that? You can just talk. Like writing code that you did. I see. Oh yeah. I see. Okay, dokie. And there's one last thing I wanna play around with you is numbers. There is a random number generator. And as you can see, it's also a library. Типа import деген бұл полностью өзі атайтып тұрады. There is a library called import, and it has a bunch of functions. And you are just importing that library and then using it. But Google Colab, like those servers have those. But if you are going to import just on your computer, let's say we are not working in Google Colab, we are working our PyCharm or somewhere, right? But imagine, let me see. Oops. Where is my PyCharm? Yeah, I was writing at PyCharm as well at the same time. So what was the thing that I was trying to say? I forgot. Let me go back to. Oh, I see. Import, да? Например, import numpy as np desem, например. It imports if only numpy exists in my desktop. Типа менің машинамда да, неменде, компьютерімде numpy болса ғана import қылады, болмаса error береді, да? Допустим, let's see if this one runs traceback, it's saying no module named numpy, as you can see. So which means I have to install numpy first to access all the functions within numpy. Like бұны импорт қылышым үшін бірінші очередь мен компьютеріме numpy'ды install қылышыма тура келеді, да? Любой library, в том числе теги random деген да library, типа all libraries. Okay? So and there comes terminal деген понятиелер бар. Have you ever heard about terminal, command line, or PowerShell? No? Okay. So terminal is basically bashed up type what bash RC. It's more efficient way of running. So biz немеде қолданып атпайбыз, мышканы қолданып, клавиатура мышканы қолданып атасыз, мысалы user interface, да? These are all user interface. Clicking, let's say I'm going to let's say I'm trying to create new folder, and here new folder, and then I'm going to make new file here, and so on. So new folder шундай нерселерди кылам десем, мынауну мисалы lecture 1-де Python деген файлды да алып туруп new folderга таштадым да. I'm doing it visually, да, бул графический интерфейс да. But you can do the same operations using terminal, and it will be much faster, more efficient. And to do that, you have to just go to Start menu. Where's my? How can I access Start? So I can just put the window, yeah, here, Start menu, and then Windows PowerShell деп жазсаңар болады. Windows MacBook'та also terminal болады. I mean, even Windows has terminal as well, but more advanced version of terminal is Windows PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell is here, and you run it. And you can see this, and then cd деген change directory болчу. cd'de туруп tilde десеңер, силердин working немеңерге самый home folderге алып келет. Анан бул жерден ls list all the folders and stuff. So my Python folder that I was working is actually in desktop. So I want to change directory to desktop. And tapты бассаңар, ну identical болбосо, неме, мисалы D деген канча folder бар? D деген documents desktop экөө бар. Экөөнү көрсөтөт да. Documents desktop, downloads да бар экен. So cd десеңер, ну мен D деген биле desktop бар. Enter десеңер desktopка кирди, тоже list, да. Personal, Python course деген folderга киришим керек. Python course, change directory to Python course. And then new folder деген жанага биз ачкан folder да. И lecture 1 деген what we did, what we moved to a new folder. So cd new folder. And we will see lecture деген мен көрдүк file. So you can move this lecture file to double dot десеңер, обратно мурунку фолдерга чыгат, то есть home folder. New folderден Python course'га обратно таштап коет. And mv is basically move. То есть өзүңөр көргөндөй, instead of dragging and dropping stuff, I can work in the terminal, you know. So this is called terminal and command line. Actually, there is a command cheat sheet for this. So I will share with you. So don't worry about the commands that I'm using. You will get access to these commands in the end. So don't worry. So move lecture pi dsm, so I'll enter dsm. Now, if I list the number of files within new folder, there will be nothing because I just moved this to the outer folder. Double dot. And if I go out, cd double dot, now I'm in Python course folder. And now if I list, I will have two lecture ones. .py them and azırla sırtqa ırgıttım da. And I can go back and move lecture pi again to folder number, which is new folder. Enter. And then go to new folder again, and I will find my lecture pi again. So it's kind of moving around, you know. And why I'm explaining terminal or PowerShell, the reason is whenever you install stuff or debug stuff, it usually happens with terminal. Типа, силер debug кылганыңарда, билесиңер install кылганда обычно терминал менен иштейсиңер да. И в том числе NumPy. Бизде NumPy деген library жок деп атпадык беле жана? Эстейсиңерби? NumPy'ды ушул жерде install кыласыңар да. So I want to install NumPy. How do I do that? Python'ды install кылганыңардан кийин, I mean, do you remember you install Python? You just download it from the website and then install it in Windows. Немеде болсо, MacBook'тун өзүнүн инструкциясы бар, отдельно. So once you have Python, you can access Python and pip тоже 3.1ден башында версиядан баштап Python'дан pip installed келет да. Отдельно install кылыштын кереги жок да. You don't have to install it separately. Python installation manager package comes within the Python itself. Now you can access that pip install NumPy. Ушул команда, мына pip деген команд полностью installation Python'га байланыштуу library'лерди ушул installation неме алат да, manage кылат. And if I press enter, it just installs. It will take some time because it's accessing, as you can see. Installing collected package NumPy. And a new release of pip is available. I don't care to update, run Python this. And now let's say NumPy. Now let's first go ahead and try to run this again. What was our value? So my array, да? Ну, любой array is equal to NumPy array деген функцияга access кылып атабыз. String den array болсын. Алишан, Аскар. We can even do two-dimensional array. Типа X, Y жана эстесиңер PowerPoint'те көрсөтпөдүм беле. Where was that? No, if you remember, I did two-dimensional array. That's how you define it, you know. I'm just doing it right now. So 2D'de екі dimension access'тер болады да. No, we will study array more in detail next time, but still, I'm just giving you some ideas, you know. Scar, let's say, Marta. Now, if I run this, my array print qildi endi o'zida print automatic. Import numpy, no module named numpy. Все равно update bo'lar ekan. Наверное, buni qara o'chirib chandirish kerak. Let's try. Exit. Terminate. PyCharm qayerga run qilayın? PyCharm Community Edition. Let's run it. It's still not accessing it. What's the issue? Did not recognize the CMD-let. Successfully installed NumPy Dev Rock. Почему-то не работает. There is debugging or something we need. Okay, I will debug it later, but the essence is when you run in your machine, you have to install the libraries first, as I did. Somehow my PyCharm is not working, but I will figure out and explain it later, so I don't want to burn your time. Okay. So the reason that I wanted to show that to you was primarily because of this. Random деген library бар, анын içinde random number between 1 and 10 мисалы, ну, range бересиңер. Каждый раз random seed чыгарат да. Ну, в компьютере это не random, да, типа случайный эмес, там есть алгоритм, который генерирует случайность цифры, да, но to us it works as a random, you know? Типа каждый раз мына жерде random number чыгат да, типа 1 чыгат, 5 чыгат, 7 чыгат, кайрат ушундай. So we can try it ourselves. Run the code. Yeah, 3. Each time I run, it will show different value. And actually, what's happening is there is rand range деген неме бар, да? Random деген функция. If you go to this Python, обычно ушинтип үйрөнөсүңөр да, Python random function. Random десеңер, Python'ın өзүнүн веб-сайты бар, официальный, да? Ошол жерде что за функция, не деген немелери бар, баарын түшүндүрөт. Seed дегенди берсең болот экен. Биз random range'ти колдондук, да? Start и stop'ту койдук. Потом that's how we are. Random integer'лер чыгарса болот экен, мисалычы. And so on. Shuffle кылсак болот экен. Типа that's how you learn, да? Типа каждый функцияны обычно ушинтип үйрөнөсүңөр, да? Любой функцияны үйрөнгүңөр келсе, you just click Google it. Функцияны излейсиңер, да? Потом научитесь использовать в конце. So the reason I did it because we use that in our game. What's the game? So game is here this. Типа бизде мондай бир игра бар. Question is, what's the value of this? If unknown values on the lot. Do you remember?
On JetBrains?
5 minus 9. Биринчи скобканы ичи чыгарылат да. Parenthesis is the first one. Do you remember the rule?
And then multiplication and division from left to right?
Yes.
Then addition and
Fraction.
вычитание.
Да. So first you calculate within the box, right? Which is 5 minus 9 is minus 4. So this is minus 4. This is 21, да? 7 multiplied 4. 21 plus minus 4 is 17. Let's see. Correct. How about this?
Минус 3 сороковых.
Минус 3 деленное на 40, да? Минус 3 деленное на 40, но I wrote the code in such a manner that it doesn't show you the дробь, типа mnoны точка деп жазыш керек, да?
А нужно в калькуляторе, да, посчитать?
You can do it in your head. 3 divided by 4, what will you get?
75 тысячных. 10 тысячных. Тысячных.
0.3
Так.
minus. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let's see. Correct. Yeah. And here, what's the value?
Well,
Any others? Anyone? People are writing 33.33. Okay, let's see. 6 divided by 10. I mean, if you divide by divide, it will go up, right? You can basically shift this one to upstairs. And open the slide on the side and then right here. What's the thing that we are trying to do with this? Insert equation. Equation, да? Сперва, fraction или, да? Сверху у нас есть 4 multiplied by 5, да? А снизу есть еще один дробь. 6 деленный на 10, да? What I'm saying is, деленный на деленный это 10 кары обратно үстіге чип етеді, да? So this is basically equal to 10 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 5, да? Деленный на 6. So this is 20 multiplied by 10, 200 divided by 6. Askar's answer was correct. Is equal to 33.33. Answer is correct. And there is I mean, we need to take care of how many threes we have to write, right? Do you remember? Типа, null жерде float, но это бесконечно өтіп кетеді да, потому что when you divide, онда бір случай болған да. Oops. Let's see. When you have a situation like this, 10 divided by 3, what will be the value? It will be 3.33. Ну, оны ондай марк қылып қойса болады да. Insert equation. Мынау символды көрсеңер керек та. It means it goes to infinity, да. 3, 3, 3, 3, да. Infinity кетеді да. Но in the code, we clearly said that as long as our value is within decimal point of 1 divided by 100,000, it should be fine. I mean, it will count it as correct. Типа, компьютер неме кылбайт да, бесконечный 3-ке алып барбайт. Ушул рейнждин ичинде болгондор уже правильно деп эсептейт. This is very typical because what's happening is if you just write, for instance, like this will be correct. But if you wrote 33.33, it wouldn't be correct because it would be larger than this, the range. It's basically setting the range, you know. So unfortunately, I cannot replicate this because it's random generator, you know. Каждый раз башка немени берет да, example да. But that's what's happening. Okay, yeah. So
Amrit,
what's up? Question? Oh, this one? 6 делённый на сколько? Oh, this is an interesting one. So first is the bracket нижний чыгарабыз да. This 3 делённый на 10, на 5, да? 3 делённый на 5, делённый на 2. 3 делённый на 10. It will be 0.3, да? 3 делённый на 10. So yeah, this is like practice of Bedmas full. I mean, this is very easy. So this is typically the first one, but I wanted to do more bracket scheme as well. Let me generate it for you. So 1 plus 6. Can you find where we should put the bracket parentheses? You have right to put one parenthesis like this, but anywhere you want, you know.
3 multiplied by 3.
6 and 6 minus 3.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I lost the source of this game, you know, like I had something. Интересный болгон бир нерсе бар. It's here. Python Python operates with PEMDAS rule. PEMDAS rule менен өзү иштейт. So, but it doesn't show it. So when you write x is equal to this number, Control C. Okay, so annoying. 5 plus 6 minus 3. 5 plus 6 minus 3 multiplied by 3. Listen. It will operate according to PEMDAS rule. For instance, we computed this case, right? So it should be 14. And it will show 14 x to sec. When it's only one variable, you don't have to write print. Okay. But when you print, you can do multiple stuff. For instance, if you just do XX, it will only print one of them. But if you want to print x 2 times, then you have to do print. No. Print x. And now it will print 2 times. Okay. And the last thing, I think with that we will finish today's lecture is breaking the line, right? We didn't do that, so string'da мындай понятие бар. X is equal to hello world дейли. Допустим, this is the case. We know that when you do print x, we will get single line, right? But what if you want to print it separately or print this one on the new line? So a string has a function where you can put new line in between. So x is equal to we can do and then when you print this, Python, as soon as it reads this slash and n, will go to new line. So that's what I was trying to show you. Hello world and go Chicago. And the reason the second one is going with the space is because after n there's a space. So within the string, even spaces matter because even spaces have ASCII codes, you know. You see, space is 32. So within the string, everyone has codes, decimal codes. And that's why it doesn't ignore, like when you have a space here, it's actually read by Python because it's within the string. But if it's here, it doesn't matter, right? How many spaces you add, it will be still the same result.
What if I want to print slash n?
N slash n, it will be two new
Just
lines. What's the question?
what if I want to print like slash n?
Slash n just itself. It will just go to new line, but it will not show anything. It will not show anything because it's just a new line. For instance, you print, let's say, what's our stun like? Stun. And then you have x here, you printed it many, many times. Oops. So you print it. So you are expecting 3 lines in between another stun, right? This is what you are doing. not even 3 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like just n is like a line breaker. No? Actually, there are more, like if you go to string variable, you will see lots of operations. String didn't I String, as I said, it's defined as an array. Actually, it's an array. Slice argumentary. I mean, but I will give you the opportunity to read yourself. And next lecture, we will start from loops, functions and loops. Functions, loops үйренғаннан кейін, все, уже андан кейін we can solve lots of Codeforce lead code problems that usually come up, like low-level interviews, first. And as we learn more algorithms and data structures, we will be equipped more like heavily, and then eventually what will happen, в конце что получится, это спикерлер келеді, алгоритмдер тегілерді үйретеді, и интервьюлардан шыққан сұрауларды сіздерге демонстрация қылып береді. But before that, we have to learn at least loops, functions, and some algorithms. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, so let me go back to the presentation file and show you the homework. Your homework for today is go to the website and finish all what you have done. By finishing, I mean, do you remember each section has its own problem sets? В конце. Я ушел problem setтерін барын чарчықла. В конце что у нас получится? Now, this PowerPoint I will give you. So when you go to very last slide, you will see the homework. So you don't have to write what you have to do. Вы будете получать этот файл. So what you will do at the end of this course is you will finish most of this stuff. So you will basically be expert in Python. And then on top of that, you will solve lots of lead code problems and have lots of algorithmic data structures. Because data structures and algorithms, they are separate from this. I mean, they are not related to programming language. Структуры данных и алгоритмы, они независимы от языков программирования. Да? You can implement graph theory, you can implement Dijkstra's algorithm и в C++, и в Python, и в Java, то есть в разных языках. Но сперва мы закончим полностью вот эти вещи. For instance, what you have file input, output, они важны, потому что data science, да, в основном machine learning, да, в основном what you do is, do you remember, like machine learning in the sense, машинное обучение, они будут давать тебе as many cases as possible, and your program will basically train on that, which is based on reading the files. So file handling is actually very essential. И во всех языках программирования file handling comes like as the later part of the like learning curve. Потом NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, Django деген. Например, Эркинді білем да, Эркин сейчас работает в Польше, наверное, Асқар знает. Эркин, например, он в Google Estate, бывший Npanic, и когда он зашерил свой CV, я увидел Django. То есть анда мысалы скиллдердің арасында Django is a very like big bullet point мен жазылып тұрғанда. So, Matplotlib, machine learning деген section бар да. Of course, we will not learn all of them, but at least we will be dealing with some of the key areas. Yeah. So this is it. Do you have any questions for today?
For now, I don't have questions, but if I will have, I will ask you.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry, I skipped some of the parts because I had a phone call from work, but I have a question regarding the homework like process. So is it mostly for ourselves to do, or you'll also go through our homework, or kind of like,
I see. For this particular homework, yeah, let's do like this. So I will expect from each of you a simple document where it just says I did finished, you know, just for myself, because I need to see like if you're doing it or not, you know. And don't worry, like if you couldn't understand the parts, it's an excellent opportunity to ask during the class. Типа, если вы что-нибудь не поймете во время заполнения homework, да, вы должны спрашивать во время урока, да, чтобы все другие тоже поняли.
Либо можем ли мы тоже отдельно в документации, вы же сказали, вот в доке, да, например, написать какой-то парт, например, Python syntax, он типа done, и если есть questions, типа снизу написать, и вы когда будете go through them, or
Can you repeat the question?
sorry. Получается, вот вы же говорите это, чтобы документировать наш homework, и там, например, Python syntax, и он вот этот part, например, done, да? А
Да.
если другой, например, вот Python variables, и там сразу, чтобы в документации вопрос был, чтобы этот на уроке не задавать его, а задать в документации вопрос.
More organized isn't that?
Да, и либо будет лучше, если этот на уроке сразу.
Let me give you a deadline. So I expect all of you to finish it Sunday noontime. Is that okay? Or Sunday 3 p.m. Is that a good timing? Sunday 3 p.m.
No, many of us gonna work at weekends, so I don't know. It's gonna be good for all of us.
Because we are going to have a lecture on Monday as well, right? That's what
Yeah.
I'm targeting, you know. I have to know your questions before the class.
Oh, then
We will try.
let's just document it as like if you finished it,
Mhm.
and then ask questions like during the class, because it would
Okay.
take a lot of time for you to go through them, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the first couple of lectures, or first, let's say 2-3 lectures, let's do it, because once we learn the basics of programming, like functions, loops, and what else do we need? Yeah, functions, loops, and some data structures, then we will have like really good interview questions, you know, we will be able to solve them. And then your homework will not be just finishing these, ticking this stuff, but solving real interview questions. Makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what I expect from you each is by the time the class starts, let's say Monday, 5 p.m. Does that work? Monday, 5 p.m. I expect from each of you the file that it's just how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Done or not done. And if you have any questions in each part, just write the question, you know, shortly.
So we send those documentation to your email, right?
You know my WhatsApp number, right? From the group.
Oh, just number. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So please just write there. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. I think we are going much faster than I expected. I thought we will finish the basics like maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, but I think at this pace we will finish in the first 2 weeks all the basics, and we will be able to solve problems. Okay, we are done then. Thank you for joining, and if you have no questions, have a nice weekend and see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, don't end the Zoom. Someone's asking for your number and before you.
Okay.
Just a second. Let me write.
My WhatsApp number is +1
Yeah, I'm writing it to the chat.
421 8283. This is my WhatsApp number.
Чоң рахмат, Сөзен Беке.
Mhm. Okay.
Спасибо за урок.
It's great to see you. Okay, have a good evening.
До свидания. До свидания.